is Ask Joe. Today is Ask Joe. What were your lyrics?
When your mixes look rough ahead, though you did everything that Graham Cochran said. You just remember what Ben and Caitlin said.
Yeah, today is Ask Joe.
Jazz hands. Yeah. That was amazing. That was amazing. Hi, it feels weird doing this in a room with other people. If you're just tuning in or you're watching the recording later, that intro was brought to you on the fly, for the most part, by these two lovely people here. Introduce yourselves, lovely people.
Hello, my name's Caitlin.
And I'm Ben.
We are called Homestead Collective.
Homestead Collective. So if you've been around the home studio corner world for a little bit, they've been all over it. Originally started with, they were in a band called Sunday Muse, and we mixed their song Fool's Gold. So if you haven't done the Mix Together season 2, you can get those tracks for free. I walk through the mix. I get really like mean feedback from the clients, and then I cry about it, and then I do the changes, and then everybody's happy. But they were the kind of the core of that band. Now they're doing their own duo thing called Homestead Collective, which if you saw Gilder Cam episode something around Christmas time, they were here recording a 5 or 6 song
Five.
Christmas EP that turned out super cool. And yeah, so now they're back again because, well, they really just came to Nashville to do Ask Joe, but then also we're gonna do, what are we doing tomorrow night, folks?
We're playing a house show together with Frankie Barenko.
Frankie Barenko. See,
Who is also on our EP.
that's
Yes.
right.
on
She
the song.
sang on Hark the Herald.
Yep.
And Frankie's been all over Home Studio Corner stuff too. So worlds are just colliding all over the place. So what we're gonna do today is, I don't know what's happening. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk to them about doing the musician thing and ask them questions about just really. I'd love if you're here live, bring some questions because this is a little bit different than the normal. Hey Joe, what EQ plugin should I buy? Discussion. I'd like to get more into kind of. Well, these comments are awesome. Get more into the maybe the creative side, being an artist, doing that thing. But first, while you're I know it's hard to think of questions on the spot, so we're going to give you a little bit of a break to listen to one of their songs, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. We'll do some questions and things like that. I've got like 2 questions for you because, frankly, I just don't care. I'm kidding. I do, but I want to hear their questions. I bet they'll be better questions. But tell us about the song that we're about to play, because this is newish, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this was recorded a few months ago. It's called 1, 2, 3. And it talks, songwriting's really weird. Sometimes songs come in different parts and pieces when songwriting. For this one, this was written 2 years ago for the most part, but the lyrics, yes. The last part of it didn't come until the wildfires started happening over on the West Coast. And so you'll hear in the end, she is the earth. So
Cool.
yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
And what's the song called again?
Yeah.
1, 2,
Oh,
3.
and Ben, what'd you
No,
have?
it's just music. I think I wrote like the main riff probably at the beginning of Sunday Muse. So this is like
Yeah,
4 years ago or
3,
something.
yeah.
And I just never used it for anything. I just pulled it out of nowhere.
And did you guys record this yourself?
No,
We record-
No, you wanna go?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. This was done by a guy named Justin Collars. He's
Okay.
kind of like outside Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, PA, yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
His studio's called The Shed.
The Shed?
The Shed.
The Shed.
Yes.
Just so we're clear. All right, so the song is called 1, 2, 3.
That's it.
Yep.
Hot new single from Homestead Collective. Enjoy.
One singular I am headstrong and slow to realize that I can't live this life all on my own. mind stood with me, together discovering galaxies, speechless in awe. Some say our eyes swallow seasons seen as wreckage, but as for you and I, these wounds show us what love is. Three company singing in harmony, waiting patiently for more than ourselves. Some say we tread in seas of our mistakes, but all along we've said we're more than shipwrecks we've made. They say they know she's crumbling in our view, but I'm here to stay, and I feel that she's resilient, and we are too.
Dang, girl. She went up to the high note at the end. Beautiful, lovely song. By the way, this is Homestead Collective. Go find them at homesteadcollective.net.
Net.
Make sure you're subscribed and following on all the things where you subscribe and follow. Support them because they're awesome. And we got some questions coming in, which is awesome. They're loving the solo. Ben's half and half on whether he likes the guitar solo. I'm telling him he has the luxury of being half and half because he can play solos. Unlike all the fakers out here who have 3 riffs that we just do in different orders, and that's what we call.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's my game. Okay, so before we get into their questions, I'd love to know kind of what got you like. That's such a big, vague question. What are you doing right now that you're excited about? So obviously you're making music and playing music.
Yes.
What's got you all excited?
I think, at least for me personally, as we launched this project a year ago, and the most exciting thing right now that I'm excited for is this upcoming concert series that we're actually launching in our backyard in Philly. Homestead Collective is also a community organization celebrating music and arts through continual gatherings. And so what's that's looked like for the past 9 months has been potluck once a month in our house, and then creative sharing time. So we've had poets, writers, artists, musicians from all over come through, and it'd be a safe, supporting, loving community because art is hard to share into that space. And so we want to take a break for the summer and do something different. And so we're featuring 2 different artists per month in our backyard for a concert. So the first one's June 16th, and we're like really gearing up for that. That's been the exciting thing that I'm looking forward to.
So if any of you can get to the Philly area, you should go.
Northeasterners.
Come on out and represent. So what kind of got you to there? Because it seems like I would love to be in something like that, because you're right, art is hard to share. Why start your own thing?
We're seeing a lot of I don't know. There's a consistent like hunger throughout humanity, obviously, that like craves love and belonging. Like we all crave love and belonging. And so we've had a lot of musician friends, artist friends through just existing and having friendships. And so we realized that not all, especially in Philly, Philly's it's an awesome city, but they're specifically, I think, with our safe and loving community in mind, that doesn't exist everywhere. And so we wanted to create that and knew that, well, it would happen really well in a home, like in a living room. You know, there's no competition kind of feel, that the best sweet spaces are like eating food together and like sharing what you love.
That's cool.
So
I love that.
That was kind of the vision behind that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where that goes and takes off and all sorts of cool stuff. Ben, tell us a little bit about when y'all go do a show.
Yep.
I know it's probably different. Some days it's probably just a guitar, but what's your ideal, if you're gonna do it upright? It's still just a duo.
Right.
I didn't mean that just a duo, but there's still only two of you. You only have so many hands and feet.
Right.
What's like a setup look like?
Setup. I mean, yeah, I guess it really depends on like the venue, and we really like the house show circuit. So sometimes it's literally just showing up with a guitar, you know, and just playing in someone's living room. But usually, I mean, yeah, live. Caitlin and I will have. I mean, she's singing. We're both playing guitar. I'll play a little bit of banjo on some stuff. Trying to write more banjo songs because people seem to like them. So they're so hard.
Yeah.
To come up with.
You
And
play
then,
real banjo too.
Right. Yeah. Got to do it. I'm trying to be as legit as I can. Yeah, and we got like some percussion. I got a suitcase now with a kick pedal on it, which is really fun. Get a lot of fun comments after gigs.
So you're playing that and still playing something else too?
Oh my gosh, it's one of these things.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, tap your head, rub
Yeah.
your stomach,
Trying
switch.
to figure out how to get my foot to do one thing and my hands to do another. But so far so good.
God bless you.
We walked into the thrift store one day and took the
Yeah, I took
beater.
the beater off the kick pedal and I hit every
Every
single
suitcase.
suitcase that they had. I mean, it was probably about like
Get the
15
sound.
suitcases until I finally picked one that I liked. And
That's
so far, so
amazing.
good.
Very cool. Well, thank y'all for being here. I know you've been driving a lot, and you probably just want to take a nap or go back to Groons. It's coming. So they're super nervous about the boom right now.
Yeah, we are.
But now I want to kind of shift gears and get into questions. Whether you're a musician, you're trying to do touring, or you've been doing it, you want to do it better, or just lots of questions around that type of stuff. That's what we're going to talk about now. Boom! If you're wondering what just happened, I do this boom thing, and we totally missed it. It was my fault. It's just too many moving parts.
We went down on the downbeat.
We went on the downbeat, so we were in time. Musically, we
Yes.
did well, but the boom was pretty bad. Okay, so let's jump into your questions. If you're here live, ask away. Ask for the people who aren't here who might want to know the truth about Homestead Collective. Again, we're here with Caitlin and Ben. Caitlin's on the left from Homestead Collective. Great musicians, super talented, super great songs. Ben, Joel says, is the Taylor your main guitar? He says, I've got a 314 CE, just got it, but I noticed it's super bright. What gauge strings do you use, and favorite mics for it?
Yeah, so it's the main guitar I use. I kind of want to get another guitar just because I use different tunings and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, I love this. It's a 414 from 2004. My dad bought it and stopped using it, so I started using it.
Yay.
I usually use Martins, which is kind of fun since it's a Taylor. You usually shouldn't do that, but
Martin strings?
yeah, Martin
Okay.
strings. Usually like 12s on it. But I just got it set up by a local guy called Jay Guitars, and he put some Diodario strings on it. But I like them, so
Cool.
I might be using these now.
What's your favorite way to mic it?
When I mic, I mean, yeah, when I play live, I just plug it in. But when I do home recording stuff, I like to use a large diaphragm condenser. I have a AKG P220, I think.
Okay.
And then I stick it probably about 6 inches away, somewhere around the 14th fret.
talk louder. So
Ah.
just move closer.
Oh, that's classic. I get that a lot. No, I usually stick the mic probably around 6 inches from the 14th fret, kind of where the body and the neck join.
Cool.
And that usually works, but it's
Love
different
it.
for every recording,
Yeah,
I think.
and every guitar too.
Right.
How often do you finish new song ideas?
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will go and finish a song in a day, or in a couple hours, and then bring it to Ben, and he will add his flair,
Thing.
his
thing.
parts to it. Other times, Ben will come up with some kind of guitar riff,
Some or other, yeah.
something, and we like it, and so we'll record it on my phone and then bring it back later, and it'll form into a song. So I don't know
How frequently
how frequently that happens, but I mean, even just like finishing songs, I would say we, on average, every couple months, we
Yeah.
finish a song. So,
Something like
yeah.
What this is from Gary. He says, given that it's hard for artists to create at the same time put food on the table, how are you balancing the collective and also making sure that you can keep the lights on, so to speak?
Great question.
Also, Spencer's here.
Ooh.
Hi, Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
Yeah, great question. We both don't do this full time currently. It's trending that way. It's the slow progressive upward slope of transitioning into full time music. I think there's a grind, but between what we make through gigging, through Patreon, those are the two main, I would say,
Music
music
like
things.
Income.
I also work part-time at the church I grew up in, overseeing the youths.
Yeah, I'm in a cafe working in the back making food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, washing dishes.
It's a job.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
job.
temporary. It's not where, obviously, you do what you got to do to
Right.
make ends meet.
How often are y'all on the road, or how often are you playing shows at this point?
Our goal for 2018 was 100 shows
Well,
this year.
our goal was
right?
80.
Oh, 80
That's
shows.
what we made it, but we're on pace for 100 right now, I think.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We
So far, so good.
Yeah, there was, I think, pretty much every weekend, we're playing
Yeah.
at least one or two. And for the spring, it really geared up to more like 2 or 3 per weekend.
Right.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Long weekends.
Long weekends. And we travel. We actually have another booking agent based out of Delaware. And so they signed us, and because they're based out of Delaware, they send us to New York, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Jersey.
Cool.
So it's like between all that regional stuff, that's really nice to have as well. And half of that is self-booked. Half of our gigs are from them. So, yep.
Super cool. Somebody wants to know, to tell us about the world of house concerts.
Oh, yeah.
Booking, travel, sleeping, or eating arrangements, guaranteed price, merch. So if you have a spiel on house shows, and because to a lot of people, they may have never heard of it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're thinking, what are you saying? And then other people have heard of it but never been to one.
Right.
It's a whole different
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got
And if you're in Nashville and you want to experience it tomorrow night, the awkwardness of me playing a house show, come on out. But
fun.
tell us kind of how that works.
Well, house shows are literally what they sound like. They are a show in your house. Basically, they're really trending. I mean, just even the last 5 years, I think they've just steadily inclined in popularity, in terms of definitely for an independent musician too, and making a actual solid income through that. Anyways, so we come to your house, your living room, whatever space you want us, backyard, and play a show. And normally that's 2 40-minute sets, but depending who's involved, the timing of the night, and weekday, weekend, it can be shorter or longer.
Yeah, it's really all up to the homeowner.
Yep.
Yeah, we try to stay very flexible with whatever
A lot of homeowners love to have potlucks, so they'll do, 6 o'clock. Everyone gets there with potluck. We do a $10 suggested donation at the door. That's normally how it goes. But we also have options for if you want to provide a free show for your guests, then you would book us. Like we would send you an invoice and you would then pay us. Or we've done kind of half and half too.
Mm-hmm.
So like homeowner will pay some and guests will pay as well.
Right.
Yeah, potluck.
Or like the homeowner will pay us whatever the rate we decide, and then it'll be like a ticketed event, and then the homeowner can just keep whatever.
Right.
You
Yeah.
make. Yeah. It's a fun one.
That's a fun one.
And yeah, it's just a sweet, intimate opportunity for your family and friends to get together and enjoy live music in a more intimate space. It's really low key. Some people think it's overwhelming. They're like, I'm now hosting this crazy, these live musicians, they're touring through and coming to my house. And we're like, no, like we want it to be like stress free. Yeah. There's a page on our website too, dedicated to it. And so you can like fill out basically a form if you want to host, which has really been a good tool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Do you typically bring amplification, or is it just as loud as you can play and sing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually on me. It depends on where we play.
Okay.
Yeah, like smaller houses. I mean, I like to play it safe, so I always bring something. Not guaranteed to use it. Obviously, if we're gonna play in like a backyard or a bigger space, yeah, I like to bring stuff.
We bring a PA system,
But that's once again on the homeowner.
Sure.
Like if they don't want it to get too loud or whatever. Not that we're ever gonna get too loud, but
we don't play heavy metal screamo.
Headbanging Homestead Collective show. That'd be awesome. Joel asks, are you playing, quote, shows, and how often does it turn into more like you're just the background elevator music? Or some of the gigs, did they go that direction?
Yes.
yeah, we play like a fair amount of like restaurant gigs where you're booked for 3 hours and people come and go, and you're just
Work in the
chugging
tip
along,
jar or get a guarantee,
Yeah.
compensation, whichever.
They're definitely not the most fun gigs.
They're kind of soul-sucking, actually.
Right. I mean, it is actually kind of fun sometimes, because when I notice that like if people aren't really paying attention too well, I'll just start having fun, and I'll like try and squeeze like random riffs into our songs, or I'll just try like a solo song that I'm probably not ready to play out yet, but I do it anyway because
That's awesome.
no one really cares.
We treat them as practice, like
Yeah, a lot of times.
because people really aren't listening. I mean, they enjoy. We've definitely had a fair share of people coming up and being like, "Wow, like we really enjoy your music. Like, thank you for being here," or whatever. But generally, if not, like we just treat it as a practice. Like it's a good practice time. So
And we like to play.
Yeah.
We enjoy
That
playing.
helps.
So yeah.
What do you, so for that person, so you're going to a gig where you're not really expecting probably a lot in the way of, we got 1,000 new fans from playing over in the corner at the restaurant, but for that new person, what do you do, or do you have anything to kind of try to get them into your world to where they loved you and now they're gone forever and you'll never,
right.
like how do you manage, because I've seen that, like if I'll play something and say, hey, love your music, and I'll be like, thanks, and they walk away, I'm thinking, I'd never see
Bye.
you again.
Have a nice life.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
our paths will randomly cross again.
Yeah. We always try to give a business card out.
Yeah.
If they ask, how can I keep in touch with you, or how can I find more of your music? Because a lot of the time we're mixing in original songs and cover songs at those kinds of gigs. So if they hear original stuff, then they're like, how can I listen to more of that? So we'll give a business card, or ask them to write their email down and add them to our mailing list.
Yeah, mailing list is big.
That's a good idea. Email, y'all.
Right.
The jam.
Nothing replaces an email.
Yeah.
Like Instagram followers, Facebook friends or followers, they come and go, but like that email.
And like
you'll
I'm
always
even
have.
like friends with them, and I don't see everything that they post on. Like I'm not on Instagram, so I don't see that, and then I don't see all the Facebook posts because they don't show up. So like,
Right.
but you send me an email that says this is when we're playing.
Right.
That one I can save and keep, and I'm never gonna
Yeah.
miss it. Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
email's not old school. Speaking of old school, do y'all still print CDs?
Yeah, we do it like
How do you balance the CD download world?
balance, I don't even know. I mean, we're still like making the CDs ourselves. We saw a really cool Josh Garrels documentary. I don't remember what it's called.
The C in between.
Yeah.
That was his.
Well, so yeah, we saw him doing that literally on his computer, printing out CDs or burning CDs and then writing on the cases and stuff. And we thought that's a lot cheaper than what we've done in the past, and we could totally do that. So in our spare time, when in like preparation, if we're going away for a weekend or however long, we'll just make a bunch of CDs, and then when we run out, we make a bunch more, and it's super easy. But as far as like, I don't know how to really answer.
What are your best
balance.
sellers merch wise? Cool. So I loved your show. I come to the table. Then what are people going away with?
CDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still selling them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, our first, so the only CD we have out now, which is a 6-track self-titled EP, we sell for $5. And sometimes we've done a pay what you want too, and people will give more. But generally, like $5, people are really happy with, and they're more likely to take away a $5 EP than a $20 shirt.
We do have shirts though now.
We do have shirts,
and they're actually selling pretty good.
I need a shirt, by the way. I meant to.
Okay.
Size small. It's not. That's not true. It's not for me.
Squeeze you into a small.
He said we'll squeeze you into a small. And we're gonna need a few more hands on deck. Gary says, how do you build your network of shows and home concerts? So kind of, I feel like I think that's the gist of the question. Like I've seen people say, just email your people and tell them to book you for a house show. And you're like, but if you're starting out. So maybe a bigger question, what advice to getting to a point where you've got connections so much that you can book a weekend run down to Maryland and back or whatever.
Right.
I don't know how close you are to anything, but things like this weekend where you pop down to Nashville, and this is a bad example, but those weekends where they're full of like 3-4 shows.
Sure.
Right. One of them, normally if we do a long weekend run, there will be one anchor gig. So that might look like a smaller venue rather than a house show, or it might look like a house show. And that one is the like guarantee compensation, like solid amount of money. And then we'll book around that, depending on who we know around there. And that has come from not only reaching out to like other artist friends in that area that we have come in contact with, but also I literally Google coffee houses in Maryland and like pop up and email. I send probably like close to 200 emails, and maybe 10 get back to me. So the ratio of that's like my day to day, like this is what I'm doing all morning. Like, so, and log it and keep track of it. Keep track of what venues have responded, or what house concert hosts have responded, and following up. So there's that balance too.
Sounds an awful lot like a sales job, which I would guess 90% of the musicians watching this are like, no, not going to do that. But then you see the people like it's funny, like I get from the outside watching your, for lack of a better term, hustle. It's like, well, it makes sense that you're getting traction and playing shows and doing the stuff that everyone else is like, oh, I wish I could play a show, go on tour. I sent one email and nobody got, like, yeah, it takes 200 to get 10. That sounds about right. Like in my experience too, not booking shows, but kind of everything else in life.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot more effort to get the result you thought you wanted to get.
Yeah.
Well, to give credit where credit is due, I actually have tried to book one show myself, and it fell apart. So Caitlin does handle all of that.
Caitlin is the booking mastermind.
So she's great at that.
Have you ever played Panzer House in Maryland in the Baltimore area?
No,
I don't think so.
Panzer House.
Panzer House.
Cool. I want to look it up though.
It's a show inside a tank.
Sweet.
Probably not.
That would sound terrible.
Was it hard to switch to the sales/business mentality versus creativity and freedom? I had a friend when I worked at Sweetwater, so we're all sales dudes, and he had this stance of I refuse to sell music or to make money from music because it kills the art, which is its own. We could have a whole discussion about that. But where do you land on? So you've got to do the sales thing, business thing, obviously, and then how do you kind of also nurture the creative musician side? Or is that what happens when you get to the show?
That's a great question.
Or maybe, I guess a question
It's
too,
kind of
what's the
both.
percentage? Like,
Yeah.
if you had 100 hours of your time over a couple weeks how much of that is over the 3 days or whatever the
Yeah.
hours? How much of that is spent doing more of the business side of things versus creativity stuff?
This isn't a concrete answer.
And we only accept
But,
concrete answers.
But I would say that like my typical day, and Ben's is different because he's working on a lot of studio stuff. He's recording both other people's stuff and our stuff. But my typical day looks like waking up 3 hours in front of a computer, just specifically sending emails and social media content / promotion stuff, taking a break and picking up a guitar and doing something with it. It might just be playing songs I know, or like practicing, or it might be like, you know, starting to songwrite, coming up with ideas. And then sometimes it looks like going down, listening to mixes that he's working on, taking a drive, going somewhere, listening to more mixes, and trying to figure out, you know, what we need to change. And yeah, coming back and doing more emails. So that's like a 9 to 3 kind of thing. And then it's also spending enough time to do, I don't know, to be outside, to be in a different environment, to not be in front of a computer, because that's where my inspiration comes from too for creativity. So, you know, it's not a concrete kind of thing.
All really great questions. We're out of time for the official podcast, but we'll hang around afterward for the after party.
Wow, that went by so fast.
Sit tight. We gotta get Beastie Boys going.
Oh, yes.
I literally have a playlist just called After